Welcome to the Ascension Stargate podcast series, where we discuss the aspects of human consciousness, spirituality, metaphysics and philosophy, energy, extraterrestrial life, science, biology, and the alchemy of higher states of beingness, all from a heart-centered perspective. I am your host and guide, Glenn Mate, and let's begin our journey.
Hey everybody, this is Glenn Mate from the Ascension Stargate podcast series, and today I have another most amazing guest. This man is a war veteran, or I would like to call him a servant of the United States. He was in the Air Force. Not only was he in the Air Force, but he also worked in the black budget projects and also gained a lot of information and knowledge during his time there. But more importantly is he's a scientist. He is a medical person that has created so many great things in our world that you probably have heard of, but you didn't know who was the creator and the patenter and who made all of this great stuff. And not only that, him being my celestial brother, but he's also a host on GAIA television for the best show on GAIA television. That would be Cosmic Disclosure, and I'm talking about Emery Smith. Emery, welcome to the show.
Hey, Glenn. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here today. When I got your call, I said, man, it's been a while. We definitely have to catch up and let's share that with the world. It's all about sharing and educating the love and light that's out there and getting people excited about what's to come in the future that we have to offer and the amazing projects that both of us are involved with on a multitude of many different platforms. So really excited to be here today, and there's just so much to talk about. And where do you want to start?
Oh, well, let me first start you with congratulations on being back in the seat of Cosmic Disclosure of season 30, right? We're at season 30 already. Where did the time go? And it's so great to see you back in the program. So congratulations on your success. Let's start off and talk about some of the projects that we've been working on.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's great with Guy. I just did like 20 episodes. Really fantastic people. I'm not going to spoiler alert anything. They hate when I do that, but check it out. You can go to my website, emerystarlabs.com or emerysmith.co and sign up. It's really amazing stuff if you're into what Glenn and I are into and talk about. And I get to really interview some amazing, interesting people. Wow, man, I'm project under project under project. One of the big projects that I've been working on was the spaceport. I've been talking about this for a decade now. We've been really into it the last 3 to 5 years, and we just got it approved in Las Vegas. So the Las Vegas International Spaceport has been approved. Um, Mr. Rob Lauer is the CEO and owner of that, along with myself and some others. And we'll talk about that because I have the ability right now to share some of those shares with the public. So I'm like definitely going to do that because they're going public here pretty soon. So I'm going to do a podcast probably on Sunday with Rob Lauer. And, he's busted his butt these last 3 years getting it done. And it's just been so difficult. It's a big accomplishment to get the government on board, to
Mhm.
get the state of Nevada on board, to get the Clark County on board in Las Vegas. And it was quite the undertaking. So, hats off to him. Can't wait for you to meet him in the world. You're going to be part of this project. It's also where we're going to be putting Emery Smith's Spaceship Healing Experience Center and Self-Sustainable Community at. So it's all going to be futuristic, a new city. It's located between Las Vegas and Pahrump, Nevada. And yeah, I mean, it's a big undertaking. It's not an overnight thing, but we're breaking
Mhm.
ground this year, and that's the most important thing. And the cool thing about this, Glenn, is that it's the first and only privately owned spaceport in the world.
Mm.
So this is really cool because there's a lot of things that we don't have to abide by. The cool thing too is we own that space above the airport. So that space, which is really hard to do because you have Las Vegas, Harry Reid International Airport, they
Hmm.
own that airspace. You can't go over there. Nellis Air Force Base is right there. You can't touch
Hmm.
that, of course. You got Area 51 in the background there. You can't go over there. And this is in between. So he owns the airspace there, which means we can do our own testing of rockets, which we're, not going to be launching rockets there. We're going to be testing drones, and they have already in the mix of building the spacecraft that take off from the airport, like a
Hmm.
plane, go exo-atmospheric, and then land on the other side of the planet. So you can take off here in Las Vegas, land in Melbourne, Australia, in less than 2 hours. So
Isn't that
it's
amazing?
and that's the future. Up confirmation complete for R2B2 in the background, and they're definitely this is definitely something that the future they're so excited because they're going to be the first Cane Corsos to go in space. Um, so these new space planes, we'll call them, are it's going to be that's going to be the future. The future is basically just like it was, in the 40s and 50s, when you would buy a plane ticket. Is that too loud? Can you hear them?
Nope, we're good.
Okay. The tickets were expensive. They're like today's standards, $200,000, $500,000. And look at them now. You can fly from, Heathrow to London, New York to London Heathrow for, $350. So this is the future, and it's going to go and be very affordable. It's not going to be like these other craft where, Elon's taking you up and all the other guys for, $500,000 or $1 million per flight. Everyone's going to be able to do this. We also have our own Russian trainer jets. So people will be able to come and, take a ride in those, kind of like they have in Russia already, but we
Hmm.
don't have that here in the United States, where you can go into the atmosphere, see the curvature of the Earth, and fly back down safely. The most important part of this program is the academy. It's the first privately owned civilian space
Hmm.
academy for astronaut training. So imagine finally waking up instead of having to fight to go through, the NASA program and the government, military. It's a military academy, not military as United States military, but it's based off of the military platform because Rob Lauer and all the guys that are involved with this, they're all former military, so which is fantastic because I'm military, and it's great to have that kind of family, environment. We all think the same way, and it has to be legitimate. So these 2 year and 4 year degrees are going to be something else for parents to be able to send their kids to astronaut school, aeronautical school, and get a degree. So this is going to be a degree certified thing. Um, and then with my academy, because I'm also going to be doing an academy as well there, and that's going to be, of course, on health and wellness and fitness, and teaching people the new modalities of frequency and alchemy and things that are not taught in the mainstream universities today. So this is going to be a groundbreaking 10-year project here and beyond. This is always going to be expanding, always going to be adding new things where it's also will be with my system too. You'll be able to get your degree worldwide through online courses, and some things you'll have to come in to do your hands-on stuff, of course. So this is a really exciting step forward. You know, taken me quite a long time to get here. So we're really excited about offering this for the human civilization worldwide and starting right here in Las Vegas. I can't think of a better place for it to be. Um, you know, people think Las Vegas, all they think is, Sin City and downtown. But just as you know, there's so many awesome places and rivers and lakes and mountains and snow-capped mountains where I can ski within 30 minutes of my house and also go down some of the most amazing hiking trails and see some amazing things, right, Glenn?
Absolutely. We could go on and on just about that alone because there's so much history, and we could call it Native American history, but it really goes very much more deeper than that. Situated right there in Las Vegas, you can go 35 minutes either way in any direction from the airport, and you're in this beautiful natural space, and the energy is just off the charts amazing. And it's
Yeah.
just a wonderful place.
Yeah, I never thought I'd end up here. Of course, I've worked here and did so many conferences here when I was into the biomed field, and then knowing this other part, the very it's so enchanting. It's got a lot of great energy fields, and it's where all the mines are, and there's
Right.
unlimited things for you to do here if you want to, and for outsourcing and getting things done, this is the fastest place to do it. And it's the most visited place on the planet. So, I mean, you get millions and millions of people every year coming in and out. And I think it's a great hub if people wanted to experience, to go into space, they can fly in, check it out, or just to go into a jet and, a fighter jet and go up in the atmosphere and check things out. And also, we're going to also be having a museum I'm going to be putting in that I just talked to Isha about with the artifacts. So there's going to be a lot of educational stuff on this platform that I have built. Yeah, so that's like one of the larger projects. I'm involved with some other archaeological projects I can't really talk about at the moment, but discovering new types of minerals and different elements here on Earth that are not of Earth origin that we're trying to bring out. And we're trying to track these frequencies
Hmm.
because everything that we're going to be moving forward in the future is all frequency based when it comes to medical, when it comes to building homes, when it comes to we're really involved with developing these homes that heal you, that are one of the largest manufacturers of geopolymers is right here, and I've been working with Trevor Miller, who does all the analysis, like on the Boogosphere and all the Mexican artifacts. It was great to have him on the team, and Isha looking at so many, looking at artifacts and putting pieces together, how the elements of the earth are just so fascinating. It's like it's so underestimated of what is laying in the dirt in your backyard, I'll say. There's nanoparticles of so many
Right.
elements that you can concentrate with amazing technologies that we're involved with right now, that we're sitting on, that, in the future, the abundance that comes out of that, and the healing that comes out of that. So, I plan to build this experimental prototype, community of the future, along with this healing facility out there, and let it be this prototype where other nations can come and duplicate this all over the world, where we make our own water, we make our own food, and we're going to prove, the amount of food we can make on a small part of land,
Mhm.
and the clean water. And I just see this ending all of the world hunger. I see this ending the places that can't get really good water, like India and other countries that are just impoverished, third world countries. And this is a really group effort that we have the best scientists on board my team, and we're just really all on the same page here about how things really need to change. And the shift is happening. And this transition is a great year for all new things to be brought out and to feel safe doing it. And that was
Mhm.
part of the big problem because we're dealing with healing technologies that are, pseudoscience to the mainstream, but, we've been utilizing these sciences for 30, 40 years.
Right.
And to bring that out is quite dangerous. So we're working with the governments to be able to bring technologies out that are not harming any other businesses or any other corporations, of course, and working with major corporations to implement that. So it's all about working together and not saying, I have this that's replacing that. You don't do that. I learned that a long time ago, gas, coal, and oil,
Right.
as you know. And the same thing with big pharma. So we're not here to take any business. We're here to gift them other technologies that they could utilize since they already have a great market share and things like that. And then, it's all about getting the Earth too back on track because the Earth is so polluted. We have so much crap in the atmosphere, cesium, and all this horrible radiation that they're dropping on us, and that all needs to
Mhm.
stop. And there's a plus and a minus to that, and there, you'll hear it go back and forth. But we're trying to protect the atmosphere because we have a big hole, in the North Pole. You'll hear so many different things, and I'll go on and on. But the main thing is we're really poisoning ourselves because there's not enough not enough, people standing up saying this is really shouldn't be done. And we do see, these higher incidences of cancers. That are just coming out of nowhere. Tuberculosis is up, 60, 70% here with all the millions of immigrants have come into the United States with various diseases that we've not seen in quite a long time. And, since we run these scans here, one of the things Darla and I are always looking at and working with our teams in other countries and joining forces and seeing these different types of mutated funguses, molds, viruses, bacteria,
Mhm.
parasites that are responsible for these cancers. And as a disclaimer, there's nothing here I'm saying that is, FDA approved or anything. This is just all experimental stuff. So if you do have any issues, you do need to consult your medical practitioner, your medical doctor for the best advice out there. But we will be talking about certain solutions and things that may or may not benefit you. A lot of the solutions that we make here, it's the ingredients that are in the solutions that have already been proven. There you go. I'll drink to that. I have some nano rose gold.
Oceanic.
Oceanic. Oh, that's the new
Love
one.
it.
Sphingolipids. That's a cross between the nano emerald green
Mhm.
with the calintrazines and the aquafarine nano blue.
Good stuff.
And the secret between the aquafarine nano blue is not the methylene blue. It is actually the zero point 0.2 uh, nanometers of zinc particles and of course gold and silvers and minerals and crystalline programming. But we'll get into that later. So
Well, we
that's
can
kind
break
of what I've
some of
been
that
at.
down. Let's see if we could make this, understandable for anybody that, meanders into this podcast because when we talk about nano, um, it's a term that's used quite a bit, but I don't think people necessarily understand what nano actually is. So if you could explain a little bit about what a nanoparticle is and how it works in our cells, I think that would help people to really have a good understanding of when we say nano and my products are nanoparticulate.
Sure. So, like when we talk about cells, 4 to 10 nanometers across, when we talk about like bacteria, parasites, and viruses, some can get down to zero point 0.2 nanometers. So, very, very small. So, when I'm developing these solutions under very high voltages and very high magnetic resonance, we are making sure that whatever the element is, I have a new one coming out. It's a type of colloidal bismuth, and it's really great against H. pylori, which affects a lot of Americans' stomachs and creates ulcers. But so when you're looking at nanoparticleization of these molecules and getting them, you know, because you might read something online, like you might see, oh, colloidal silver, it's 50 parts per million, and you're like, oh, that must be great. That must be the best. That must be better than 10 parts per million. So it's the opposite because smaller in the nanotechnology field is better. So, when we're talking about cells and we're talking about the size of cells, like I was just demonstrating, we're talking about viruses and bacteria and parasites that infiltrate those cellular membranes. we want to make particles because, like zinc, for instance, that's inside of the aquafarine nanobubble. Zinc is such a great, molecule. It's just a great element because it's already been proven out there to do so many amazing things. But the human body cannot digest zinc, and
Mm-hmm.
that's that. Okay. You might get sick when you take zinc. You might, you can try all sorts of things. We use it for suntan lotion, as you know. We use it for all sorts of amazing things. It's just great for you, but you have to take a lot of it for it actually work. So when you nanoparticleize that, the body easily can digest that, goes right through the stomach, into the cells, into the cellular membrane, into the cytoplasm, into the nucleus, into the nucleolus. And that's important for the cell and the mitochondria, the organelles in there to utilize that. Because when you're taking just supplements with that, the body can't really break it down into the nano field. And so quantum nanotechnology is what we specialize in with the solutions, such as the like the rose gold
Mm-hmm.
oral solutions, and you can read up on this stuff, guys, at I'll put the link down below at emerystarlabs.com. And this is a black light, and you can see it illuminates because of the colentrazines in there that we get from um, that we reproduce from jellyfish from the Marianas Trench, which live forever and ever and ever and ever. So the nano emerald green has a lot of different things. I'm not going to get into all that, but we also run it through all these different crystals, okay, like shungite, obsidian, quartz, amethyst, and this also changes the structure of the water. So all the waters are what we call a four-state water, a plasma water. We run plasma gas through the water, adds an extra hydrogen electrons. So that also binds to, encapsulates all these gold particles and stuff like and silver particles, all these different particles, and brings it and transfers it through the blood-brain barrier into the brain and in and out of the body. So it's not accumulating in the body. Last thing you want to do is have something
Mm.
accumulate. But a lot of our stuff already has like zeolites in it and stuff, which since this water is a very smart water, it's not going to strip the body of the minerals it needs. It knows how much to take out, and if there's an excess of hazardous metals in the body, which is really important to know. A lot of people are like, "Oh, we have all these minerals, but a lot of stuff you have zeolite. Doesn't that just rip everything out?" No, it doesn't. It actually works together synergistically.
Absolutely. Let's get into something a little bit deeper. I've got my amethyst crystal right here,
Yes.
and you know, I want you to explain to people about the frequency. So,
Mhm.
everything has a frequency. So, I think we kind of need to explain a little bit about the resonance of each particular crystal. And as water passes through it, it's programmable. So, it is starting to accept that frequency property of that crystal. And then take it from there, brother.
Sure. I love crystals. I love crystals all over the place. So yeah, crystals. Here's like a selenite Merkaba, which are also available on emerysmith.co. We have a couple left. Uh, do you have one of those?
I don't have one of those. I don't
Oh,
have an Emery
okay.
Smith
Oh,
Merkaba.
you don't have an Emerson. That's selenite. All right.
I don't have, but
Well, I'll tell you, the cool thing about the crystals is number one, they've been here a lot longer than we have. Here's an Andara. I like the Andaras.
hmm,
This one was cut because it looks like this in the raw. And these come from, in lightning. This one comes from Alamogordo, White Sands area because when the lightning hits, it actually fuses with the silica, or it might be different colors of Andara crystals from around the world. Wherever that lightning hits, depending on the soil contents, like if there's a lot of iron in the soil, it'll be
right.
red glass. Yeah. Like so the crystalline structure of all crystals and emanate these different frequencies. And the frequencies all have to do with where they are on the earth. So when you see a geode and they crack it open, they all look different from around the world. They're not exactly the same. There are, of course, a lot of amethyst and citrine geodes just because of the way they're heated and the elements that were in the ground where that was found. And that takes millions of years to create. So, it's not an overnight thing like diamonds. But even diamonds, they give off a frequency. So these frequencies that we have measured using very high-tech oscillators are do many different types of things. So some are activating, your own healing properties. So before we jump to that, Glenn, I think we should also let everyone know that you are a crystalline structure.
That's
We've
right.
already proved that the DNA is a crystal, and I don't agree with the scientific look at, when you see on the books the DNA strands, it really doesn't look like that. And then, I was just talking with Dr. Lana Bachmoro, a neuroscientist out of Austin, Texas, about this. And she and all her colleagues feel the same way. That's just a misconstrued. It's a way to put it on 2D paper to make it look like something,
Right.
but it really isn't. It really isn't that. It's a much greater holographic imaging of platonic solids, actually, on the Planck scale. So this is made up of even smaller, different types of shapes, and that's like crystals when they do grow naturally, not like these ones are cut. That they have these geometric forms and sides because they are based off of the frequency, and that frequency holds in it the instructions for that crystal to grow. And guess what we are? We're this crystalline structure, and we also have instructions for us to grow. So crystals are great, whether you're doing your own alchemy at home with water and stuff like that. We take it a step further because we are using electricity and magnets, and we're attaching that to the crystals
Mhm.
and stimulating the water with something else to release these molecules and to make them really, really small. So all the water, all the solutions that we have and that Glenn has that he carries utilize this specific formula that we have developed. And bio, it's a type of bio imprinting. So it's a three-dimensional holographic imprinting, which you're going to see in the next 5 to 10 years with med beds and growing
Mhm.
organs, where we can scan an organ, get that frequency, and then grow the same organ. Okay, we've already done it, but it's not out there. So the same thing with crystals, we can get that crystal's energy, and water is like the best conduit for everything, and it holds the frequency, which is
Right.
really cool. As Harimoto has, if you watch all his stuff, where he flash freezes a glass that says love on it, and it's so beautiful. Then he has one from the sewage plant, and it's like this monster coming out at you. So had to do my animatronics there. So the fun thing about this is we're infusing like 50 crystal form frequencies into the solutions. And we do different crystals for different things, but for the majority, most of them have all of those in there. And these frequencies are really important because your body is based off of frequency. Being the person who invented the first tabletop platelet-rich plasma stem cell concentrator in the late 90s was about concentrating the body's own natural occurring healing properties, and which are growth factors that are inside platelets. So we take blood or bone marrow or fat, we spin it down, we harvest these cells, and we concentrate them, then we activate them, and it dumps out all these amazing proteins, and people heal. So the secret behind that wasn't really the growth factors or the cells specifically. It was about those cells that are used for healing have a specific frequency. And when you concentrate all those healing frequencies, guess what happens? The body is aware of that because you're always vibing this beautiful frequency. We see this on many different types of I don't know if I can talk about that, but different types of um, photons that we can measure things coming off the body, like with our systems. So if you kind of like when you do thermal imaging, if someone has an injured shoulder, you see it's a little red on the thermograph, the thermograph. We have much more detailed stuff than that here at our laboratories. when we do our scans, where we're taking pictures of people's faces, taking their DNA and running it through the system. Um, so the frequency, getting back, because you know me, I'm OCD, I'll be jumping around. You gotta keep me on track, then.
No
But the
worries.
thing is, the frequency of the crystals, if if you put that healing amethyst next to your body, okay, and let's say it has, 2 or 3 inch or 12 inch, depending on the size of the crystal, energy field, and the blood's going through that part of the chest that you laid it on. The water in your blood is being formulated. Okay, it's being, uh, it's transmuting also the negative energies of those other cells that are not good. Maybe you have an infection going on or something. And it's actually affecting the state of that water that's in your body. And that's what we want to do. We want to have a high vibe, high voltage body. So the body, what we're doing here is we're not like, curing anyone with a K or anything. What we're doing is we're getting the body at the right voltage or frequency so it can heal itself.
Right.
Everyone is not in the right homeostasis. And yeah, they blame it on, oh, I got asbestos, or yeah, I have this cancer, or I have Lyme disease, and da 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 da, and all these things. But there's the majority of them, and that's what I love about Glenn, is he knows how to talk to the patient, because a lot of these ailments that we get in are emotional based,
Hmm.
elements that they have. Okay, these karmatic things that are going on, and just this horrible life trauma that we all go through as children. And we also have to do the counseling, and that's what Glenn does. You do this amazing. You take people in and you talk to them and get that out, and all of a sudden, they don't need anything. They just got better. And we of course we have all the technologies to get you there really fast, but the thing is, some of the most simple things that you can do is, you know grounding 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, sun gazing, um, doing some breath work,
Finding
taking
that
time out.
gratitude practice, right? To be
Yeah,
grateful, right? We forget
yeah.
that
Mhm.
every thought is a thing, and every thought has a frequency measurable and detectable to it, right? And when we have all of these thoughts and feelings and we don't release them in a healthy manner, they start to sustain in different areas of our body, which cause that dis-ease.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't have put it better myself. This frequency, like you said, the thoughts, I think people don't, the education on this is important, because that's why they call curse words curses, because that curse word is cursing energy that affects your vibrational crystalline DNA structure. I don't care what you say, it does. Um, the last thing you want to do is fight with me. You can ask my wife Darla, because my my vibe is so happy-go-lucky, and I have this beautiful shield that it reflects that. So if you're gonna say something bad about it's gonna come back on you. And we have this thing. That's why I don't want to curse anyone or do anything like that. And once you've been cursed before and you've been attacked by energy beam weapons, and almost laid
Mhm.
to die, and have naysayers and just negativity out there, can affect a person if they don't know how to use this cosmic martial arts, I'll call it, which is also what we train in, and I know Glenn does a lot of this too with his clients. It's really important, because that's always going to be there, and how you respond to attacks is also a really big one.
Mhm.
Um, you know, you, you really need to laugh that off and be the larger, the bigger conscious person in the room. Because so what? This person is upset for whatever reason. Is it going to serve you to engage in a vocal battle or an online battle? I see this, and it's sad in the conscious community when my colleagues are fighting each other. And I was like, wait a second, you guys are supposed to be these spiritual, lifted
Right.
people. Either disengage, from the fight or the altercation, or use your feng shui and use your your martial arts there to work through it, because I think a lot of the egos and the conscious community, no matter what they're at, they want to stand up for themselves, and the internet makes it bad when people post things. So I ignore all of it, and I just I keep it online, because the people that are really conscious that see negative things, they know, we know, well, this person has an issue, and they're really burying themselves, because people will lose faith in those people that complain about other people.
Very
And
true. You know,
you know,
one of the pieces of advice that I give to many of my clients is then when somebody is speaking negatively, attacking you, they're saying something that could be perceived as hurtful. They're showing you their cards. They're telling you more about their internal unresolved conflicts than they are speaking actually about you. Because one can only mirror from what they know, or what they feel, or what they understand. So when somebody comes at you in a negative form, that means that they have something that you showed to them, and therefore they're trying to expel that negative feeling onto you. Misery loves company. So the truth of
yeah,
the matter is they're saying more about themselves than they really are about you. You're just the medium that
I'm
is
telling you
it
that
being stuck to, right?
you're hired. You're hired. Yeah, that's what we preach. That's why. I mean, I'm lucky to have a beautiful relationship with my wife, because we're both conscious and know that's not the avenue to go to. Even with my colleagues, we all know that there's a way to talk about things and communicate, that doesn't, just because, but everyone has a different level of consciousness. And recently, unfortunately, and a lot of listeners are feeling this, that have been some walk-ins. There's been some
Mhm.
attacks on even you, Glenn. A lot of
Mhm.
people, yeah, you've been through this. I've been through it. Many of you guys have been through it, where you've known someone your whole life, or you're really connected with someone, and all of a sudden one day they're like, and you're like, wait, who's that person? And these are, I hate to get religious, like demonic forces, but this is a type of negative, um, demonic force. I'll just say, I like to call them entities, because entities can come in and out, whether they're extraterrestrial, whether they're spiritual, however you want, whatever your belief system is. But it is a real thing. And we know this because we measure frequencies on people,
Mhm.
and we know what, we've measured negative entity frequencies. And the military knows this. A lot of people I interview, that you guys know, I won't say names, have been, they have devices to see, who's ETs and who are, not, who are bots, people that we call soulless. They're just walking
Mhm.
around causing problems. Um, and a lot of people, don't understand this, and they're trying to fix that person. Oh, I'm here. I got to fix that person. And you and me, you're a firefighter, me being a paramedic, we want to just like, oh, I can fix it. She'll be
Mhm.
fine. I'll fix this. My whole life will just be fixing this person. Oh, no, that doesn't work that way. You do, this is a sign that, hey, you got to reevaluate yourself, because you got that person to a certain level. You're still going, but that this group, or this person, this individual may not be able to comprehend the non-linear, super linear. You're going all the way to the stars and beyond, and not everyone can hang with that. So a lot of high vibe people that I see out there in the community and on my team, struggle with wanting a person to change or be something or believe in something that they're not programmed to do, that, which is
Right.
fine. And I think having the gratitude and having not an expectation of anything in life, and using your heart and not your head when it comes to relations, whether they're personal, business, or other, can save you a lot of heartache. And keeping that energy in and emanating more of this this love out in the world, you know. I mean, you make me sick. You're just so
Absolutely.
full of it. You're just overflowing with it constantly. I'm like, where do you get all this energy? But it is like I say that jokingly because I love Glenn and he's just been a great support element of my life. And you know, these things are important for people to know that, you know, you have all these amazing awareness capabilities as a person. You just need them activated and you have to
Mhm.
get out of the shell. You know, you can't just do that repetitive, you know, day in, day out. It's not working for you. You got to get out, you know, talk to Glenn, talk to myself, and find out, you know, what's going on in the system, in your etheric state, your you know, that field of energy. Everyone needs a little help now and then. I mean, there's no way I
Especially
could.
today. Today is a
This
very
is
transformative period in the
yeah,
human collective right now.
yeah. Mhm. Yeah,
And
I agree. And then you have, you know, you know, I don't like to get into it, but you said we might talk about current events. You know, the media is just really gnarly out there making you believe things. You know, let's spend 4 weeks on TV talking about this missing person, but over here we're launching, you know, attacks over here and starting war maybe. But that's really a cover up for this giant 6 acre UFO they can't move under the water. So we're just kind
right,
of hanging out. And this is happening like all the time.
right.
When I see
We
all
call
these,
that the shell game, right? Look over
when
here. Did you
I
see that over there?
when I
Oh,
see, oh, I hate that game. When I was little, I always got screwed with that when I was little. When I was a younger
but
time.
as we're talking about heart and as we're talking about frequency, one of the things that you and I both know is that we can use our own heart coherence to understand what is true for us in the moment. And we can
Mhm.
pass anything through that truth meter and know its resonant factor
Yeah.
and how it applies to us, right? So, one of those things is just getting centered in your heart by just slowing your breathing down and focusing on that, and then having the ability to say, with intention, does this apply to me? Is this resonant to me? Is this truth to me? And ask those questions. And the truth meter will ping like that. It's an instantaneous thing. We know it right away. There's no question. It's either a yes or a no. And if we hear that story like, well, it could be this, it could, and maybe that, well, that's our ego talking and telling us that story. And it's not doing us any favor in the moment because we didn't follow the information that we perceived from our heart. And that's where we're going as a collective. We're going back to that resonant heart energy to communicate, to open up our psionic abilities, and to become together in unity, in oneness again. And I'm so excited for that because it's going to bring some amazing things. And speaking about that, in tandem with current affairs, we have our celestial brothers and sisters that are about ready to come into our world, into our existence in a new way,
Mhm.
and to help us move forward in some of the things that we've been stuck with for such a long time, like cleaning up our environment and replenishing Mother Gaia instead of stripping her of all of her natural resources. So these are some really prolific times that we're just starting to open the doors to create this wonderful life for all of humanity, where there's no segregation, there's no individual. We're looking at a new revelation of the human race.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, this is the year, you know, disclosure's already happened, but there's going to be a form of disclosure never seen before this year.
Hmm.
And, you know, I can 100% verify it. this is something that will, help people in the 3D kind of come to terms with, who they really are, and also understand, yeah, there's been a lot of fakery out there with what you were taught, and many aspects of human history, religion, science. And I think, we have to go and break through this transition as the, Earth is separating and pulling apart to the new paradigm. And this is going to be very beneficial, very painful, and there's going to be some chaotic times, and that's okay, and that's fine. And you have to roll with that. And working in emergency surgery
Hmm.
for many years, I just recall a patient that was on the table, and the surgeon looked up at me, and the patient was bleeding out. It was a tear on the aorta, and the entire room was pretty chaotic with the almost had five nurses in there, a couple anesthesiologists, a couple nurse anesthetists, perfusionist, auto transfusionist. But it was to a point where it was too chaotic, where the surgeon, looked up at me. He gave me that look, and I know him very well, this heart surgeon. And he looked around and he said, "Hey, everyone, it's not you on the table, so everyone take a breather and let's save this patient's life." And I think the world needs that now and then,
Hmm.
because it's easy. I got people, emailing me, texting me, "Oh, what do you think about ice?" Or "What's going on with this? Oh, this is terrible." And I'm like, and so, okay, there's always going to be that out there. There's always going to be these terrorist attacks, and there's always going to be, this this ongoing polarity of, however you want to look at it. But it is part of being here and experiencing, don't forget, you have a mission here. We all have a mission. We're all part of this together as one. We're all, living that for that part of you, you know. So it's you got to look at it that way and understand that this is really a beautiful place to be at. This is a fun place, and
Hmm.
I love what my job, because my all my inventions, all my patents, all my jobs are all about of service, helping people. And like you too, it's like we live a life of service, and this is like really rewarding for me to be part of this at the same time, helping with the transition and being, the person that people can look up to, and be, give them the education that they need and answer those questions. Because I have a lot of answers. I don't know all the answers, but I have a lot of them to help everyone get
Yes.
through. And I'm sure you get a lot of this with your clients.
Yep. Absolutely. What I like to say to so many people is that we can either focus on the problem or we can focus on creating solutions, right?
Yeah.
If we've put our attention on the problem, that only perpetuates the energetic presence of that problem. It makes it bigger and bigger, and it gives it more life. And that's not what where our intention is. And we want to see problems go away. So if we want to see the problems go away or dissolve or retract, then we need to be in the creative fashion of creating solutions and not getting angry for the negative things that are happening, because most of us, it's beyond our control, but it's not beyond our aptitude to do something energetically about it and being in the mindset that we can solve this. We can create a solution for things to become better, to become more civil, to become more flowing and loving. So it's a choice. Which would you like to be part of? You want to be part of the solution, or do you want to be, you know, perpetuating the problem further? And you and
Yeah.
I are under that, like, okay, we're
No,
creators, right? We're those number ones, like, let's come on, guys, let's get this together. Let's
let's
do this.
go.
We
We
can
got to do it.
let's get our crew together, let's get the team together, let's create some solutions for all of the things that we see that are troubling today. And
Yeah.
you do
Yeah.
that in
I
such a wonderful way.
Thank you. You see this, you have boots on the ground like I do, and you see this daily. And you know, I don't like I'll go back because I want you to switch your verbiage from problems to challenges
Okay.
because you fix all those challenges. And everyone has the ability to fix those
Right.
challenges. And that's what it is because this school that we're in, and we're all in this school together, is falling on our face and getting hurt and being able to look at you're still here, Glenn. I'm still here. We've been through hell and back. And
Hmm.
so has everyone listening on this, not just us.
Right.
Everyone's been through just a horrific life, and for the most part, and you're still here. You're still going. And I think just getting up, and brushing that off and mending those wounds and then putting it behind you and then, accepting that, that whatever it was really helped. And I had to do that many times. I mean, I had to fall on my face, make horrible mistakes in my life to get where
Hmm.
I'm at today. And I wouldn't change a thing because I wouldn't have learned the hard way if I did it any other way. And I think a lot of people have been through that and are going through that. And I just want to let the people know that they need to keep going and falling and getting back up because this is what it's about. And the learning from that, not just for your own emotional state, but your karmatic energies and things that you have already set for your lineages has a lot to do with, who you are today and how you're going to survive, this. And we're forever beings. So it's not the end in any form or fashion. And the challenges are going to be there. It's about working through them and aligning yourself with like-minded people. What do you think about that?
Oh gosh, yes. Sometimes we accept people for who they are, which is something very good and responsible to do, but
Hmm.
sometimes we have people in our life that are the closest to us. They could be family members, and you know, maybe we just don't resonate with them. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because we have to continue to move forward. And if you want to move forward and you're moving forward and maybe someone isn't, that's a hard challenge to face, right? And both you and I
Yeah.
have faced that in our lives multiple times,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And whether it
Yeah.
be business partners,
Hmm.
our past lives of interests and things,
Hmm.
we've had our challenges for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, it's about taking that next step forward and to continue to say, if this group doesn't resonate with me, this person doesn't resonate with me,
Hmm.
I need to continue to not lower myself, but to continue on to resonate the love and happiness and joy that I, feel I deserve, right? And that is the
Hmm.
thing that propels you forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, like you said, the awareness is a key thing. If that person is not serving you, why are you keeping that vampire around,
Right.
If that friend is just always calling you just because, he needs a ride or wants something from you, then that's not really a good friend. And and we've all been taken advantage of, there's no poor me here. I accept all the crazies, but after a point, when you do me wrong, you better watch it because the worst thing you're going to get from me is you're never going to hear from me again. And
Right.
you got to deal with yourself. I like one of the points you brought up earlier, Glenn, is when there's altercations and this has been through worldwide history. It is, the person is reflecting themselves on you.
Hmm.
And it's not just narcissist. It's just the human psyche is like this. And, it's like the person accusing someone of cheating when they're the ones who are cheating. It's the person, accused of stealing. Oh, they're the ones that are stealing. I see this through history over and over and over, experienced it firsthand. And when you're that conscious and are aware that the person is doing this, you really have to crack that smile, in your heart and just be like, okay, I'm gonna listen. Listening is far more advancing your consciousness than talking or yelling or trying to prove yourself. And I've been through this, of course, since I came forward, 10 years ago. A very difficult time. And now it's like everyone's, oh, he was right about all that stuff. Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my
Oh,
God.
because
Hey,
oh, wow.
what
It was
was
on
I thinking
CNN.
about this guy that said that all of this stuff was going to happen or was happening, and then all of a sudden we have validation,
Yeah, I
right?
have. Yeah, it's funny I have to laugh at it now because very hurtful things were said, and I said, okay, well, goodbye, and I'll see you in the future. And here, everyone's coming around going, wow, everything you said did come true, and I'm sorry that this happened, and da, da, da. And it's funny when I see people on TV, military people that I know or I don't know, and they're talking about stuff. Well, I read this paper and it said this, and and this guy, my boss, was the highest, and I'm laughing because here I am having firsthand experience, with these
Hmm.
beings and with the projects going, all the Emerys out there just not saying anything, standing fast, and watching this great story, this great movie unfold. Speaking of movies,
Speaking of movies,
speaking of movies,
we've got a
oh
release,
my God, oh
and
my God.
here it is. It's a movie. It's called
First
First
Contact.
Contact. And I am so, so excited to bring this story to light, of course, and I wouldn't do it without my celestial brother, Emery Smith. So you will see Emery Smith in this movie production, and I am so grateful that he is joined on our team. The story is what I like to call hiding the medicine in the cheese. There's real things that could happen, but we put it in the way of a context where it's, ordinary people having
Mm,
experiences that lead up to something that is monumental, life changing, and, you become something totally different when you
mm,
have an experience that is you can't even put words to, right, Emery? So, like the
yeah.
first time that you integrated with an extraterrestrial being of such a high frequency, you're changed. You're not the same person
Right.
ever again. It expands your perception so far and so wide. It's kind of like looking over the ocean on the horizon as the
Mm.
sun sets. You cannot see from end to end, no matter how you change your position. It just widens your perspective on who you are in a positive, loving way, right?
Yeah,
And
no, it's overwhelming, and it looks like you're putting that on screen for people to experience, which I think is beautiful. It's not really been done in that storytelling way.
no, this isn't a story that comes from fear. This comes from a story that's relatable and of transcendence. So I'm super excited to put this together. We're having some great actors and actresses that are coming in to help tell the story. We have an amazing producer that we're starting to have some talks with, and this is just going to be a phenomenal story. And I'm just so grateful that we can bring it to the public, and this is the right time, right? We are in that precipice to take the next step of change, and things are obviously going to be told soon with disclosure. Our president saying that in the near future he will begin to declassify what we know about extraterrestrials and UAPs and UFOs. So, it's an exciting time that we all decided
Yeah.
to come here
Hmm.
and to transform and transcend. So, I am graciously and lovingly, diving deep into this project. I have been acting on the side for the last 24 months, and I think that me stepping into this role was me stepping into bringing this film,
Hmm.
clearly being pushed because I've already done 22 film projects, one television project for the Discovery Channel, and I have 5 open acting projects. So it has kind of prepared me for this next step, which I'm so grateful to take.
Yeah, congratulations, Glenn. I'm really proud of you. I mean, I know how hard it is to write a script, and I saw that big stack you had earlier today, and there's a lot of undertaking that takes. And thanks for, taking your time out and focusing on that because I know how many hours you put into it. And you did it for the world, and that's what's lovely about what you're doing. It wasn't about ego or self-worth. It was about getting the message out and to the masses and saying, "Hey, you're not alone," and look what's happening. I mean, there's been documentaries, of course.
Hmm.
All the ET movies are coming out by the dozens this year, but this is, like you said, your first person, first hand, looking at it yourself and being able to have a relationship with the screen and what's being foretold there. Yeah, it's going to be just a groundbreaking, amazing movie. Really looking forward to shooting that with you.
It's going to be awesome, and I'm so glad to be in the limelight with my celestial brother simultaneously. We certainly will deliver our best pieces of who we are into this. We're pouring ourselves and our hearts into it. So what better formula is for a movie than to come from that point and perspective? And I know, we'll both deliver on that very, very well.
Yes, in addition to all the special guests,
Yes.
which we can't talk about.
We
That's
can't talk about
classified.
the special guests, but there will be
Yes,
some very
yes,
special guests. What we
absolutely.
can talk about is something else
What can
that
we talk about?
we've worked on together, and it's this. It's our cosmic stimulator.
The cosmic stimulator.
Yeah. So let me give a little backstory on this. So I came to Emery and I
Yep.
said, Emery, is there anything that we can do to increase our level of consciousness in a fairly rapid way? And I came to Emory with the concept of Narcan. So when we come on a patient that has
Yeah.
a drug overdose, we administer nasal Narcan to get that quick reaction. And we're taking advantage of the nasal cavity being very viscous and, very permeable. I'm like, Emery, can we do something like this? Can we bring something this? And this is what we came up with. We came up with Cosmic Stimulator. Do you want to talk a
Yes.
little bit about that, Emery?
Yeah, absolutely. So the cosmic stimulator, number one, you can't get it on my website. You have to go to Glenn's website to get it. We did a special little thing with Glenn promoting this. And it's really amazing because not only does it have, the 40 crystalline structures in there, but it has orbitally rearranged monatomic elements like the orms. And that's really important because those minerals and elements, you're born with, but over time you don't really get that unless you're going to drink like 20,000 gallons of seawater a day. So it's the vibration frequency effect, of this that you know, yes, it has a delivery system because it's made from the four-state plasma water. It has a super high concentration of gold in it. And this, and you can look up all the benefits of gold online. But for what we're doing is we're trying to activate the neural receptors that surround the pineal gland. So when you're taking this to the mucosa in your sinus cavities and it's not just about the saturation. Don't forget, it's like a crystal has a vibratory field. Okay, cosmic stimulator has a very large frequency field. So not only is it going up into your nose, but it's actually sending a field in there and it's communicating with those cells. Okay, and those cells are communicating through a frequency uh, gradient. And that frequency allows those neurons to reconnect okay, and also helps decalcify the pineal gland. So we've had a lot of studies showing people that have been using it for over a year and looking at, what's really happening on these X-rays, and we do see this happening. We can't really explain how that's happening. I think it has to do totally with transmutation. Transmuting is a new science field that you're going to see. We transmute the oceans with pollution. We were able to do that with radioactive material using mushrooms.
Mhm.
So this is not like a secret science. It's out there. It's getting the right formula though, together, because I can have a red blood cell and a white blood cell. They're two independent frequencies. Okay. I can have, same thing with viruses. They all have a different frequencies. When you put them together, okay, like your body is made up of these trillions of cells, but they're all different frequencies. When you put them together, there is a frequency just for you. So with the solution, in the cosmic stimulator, it's the same thing. Synergistically, it has its own signature. Nothing like it on the planet. And that's how it works.
And I've personally been using it for well over 2 years now, and it is so beneficial to jump into that meditative state to further access astral projection, astral travel, to get into some of these higher brainwave states. We need that gamma state in order to really get into our psionic abilities, and this has been such a great help to kind of like jumpstart, I want to say. It gets that right formulation of frequency so you can access that now. So it's just a wonderful product.
Yeah, for people that are meditating and doing astral travel, it's a must. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to mention that, it's also protecting us from 5G and 6G, right? From
Yes.
those harmful frequencies. So, there's so many benefits that are infused in these products. And also, you're taking it in, and, what's the most important parts of your body? Your brain and your heart. So without those, you're kind of lost. So,
Yeah, and then there's also, other the regular elements that are in there, like the silvers and the zincs, that actually help protect the mucosa from pathogens as well. And that's been documented already. So there's a lot going on in that. There's other things in there that's proprietary we can't talk about.
right, we have a few things in there that are not indigenous to this planet.
That's right.
Emery, we're almost at our time.
Yeah.
I am so grateful that we had the opportunity to reconnect again, and I can't wait to come back out to Nevada and spend some time with you and Darla and my favorite cane Corsos R2B2. I miss them. Thank you again for spending some time with me today and spending some time with our listeners and giving us some real good information today. So thank you, brother. I love you for that.
You're so welcome, Glenn. It's always a pleasure, doing these little podcasts with you. And the information that comes out, it's always different, and the message is different, and the love is felt. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it. If you guys ever have any questions, please contact me at emerystarlabs@gmail.com. You can also check out my website at emerystarlabs.com and emerysmith.co. And like I said, Glenn, looking forward to the future here, and also having you come visit soon. I'm setting up some things, and I'll keep you abroad of that.
Awesome, awesome, brother. And if you're looking for some cosmic stimulator, you can go to my website at www.divinephoenixhealing.org and go to the products page, and you'll see that. You'll see a bunch of information about myself, and also as we release new information about our movie First Contact, that will also be on the website. So stay tuned for more, and we'll be back sometime real soon with more information between Emery Smith and Glenn Mate. And we'll see you soon.